Hello everybody, Accureye here, and welcome back to another Accureye Talks video. And in today's video, I thought we talked about something that to me seemed kind of important, and it kind of relates to what I've seen with fighting games these days, and that's you know, how do fighting games work, and if they are working, how are players keeping it to where you are controlling, or at least somewhat under control of what's going on. You're somewhat under the controller of and the company that makes this fighting game is doing the corrections they need to make the game continue to work well. And honestly, that is something that most fighting games don't get looked at, is how to keep things to where they are fair and at least to somewhat good perspective for tournaments, and even beyond just tournaments, and just good for the average daily consumer or user. And I mean, in many ways, games like Street Fighter 5, for instance, have a pretty good turnout rate, and they keep their audience base because of the fact that the changes that are made are actually pretty good and fair for most players. Like, some players are going to kind of go like, oh, my favorite character who I used, let's say for instance Akuma, for instance, got nerfed. But I mean, you think about it, when it comes down to like tournament players and even just players like me who are very competitive, the Akuma nerf may not be that bad compared to having, like, for instance, someone like Ken buffed up. Obviously, I don't think Ken would get buffed up. I think Ken would be probably nerfed for the most part. But, you get my point. Because it makes it to where it continues to stay competitive and balanced for every player. Like, you look at season to season for Street Fighter, from season 1 to season 4, Street Fighter went through some major changes. You've seen characters rise and characters fall. You've seen, hits, you've seen misses. Even for the most part, for a while, when Season 3 first rolled out, Sakura, when she first came out, she actually was kind of viable for a while. And then Season 4, all of a sudden, she dropped out, or she then, of course, dropped out for a while, and then, of course, she got a little bit nerfed up, or buffed up a little bit again. Because, players were having a hard time or utilizing certain things. And that's something that many games don't see. Take, for instance, like Namco Bandai. Namco Bandai, and Soul Calibur 6, for instance. Soul Calibur 6 does not have a very, changed system. Like, for instance, characters like Nightmare still are overpowered as heck, and they haven't really seen a nerf or a change that could potentially make them good. And then you got characters like, for instance, Taki, who don't get used very often, have not seen a buff up yet. And it makes me wonder, what the heck is Namco doing? Why is Namco Bandai not looking at characters who are overused and saying, hey, maybe this character is too overpowered? Like, for instance, in the case of Soul Calibur, Siegfried. It's like, Siegfried is very, very overpowered, and it's like, why hasn't Soul Calibur not looked at it and gone, what happened here? Why is Siegfried so overpowered? Why have we not changed this? And same goes with characters like Vodo. And I think that's one of the main reasons why the game doesn't keep its player base very long. It's because the player base just can't find a middle ground where it's like, okay, this is like, for instance, Nightmare or Siegfried. Yeah, they're still overpowered, but at least there's enough changes in them to where it's like, if I'm skilled enough or if I know what I'm doing, I can pretty much beat that person, or I can pretty much beat that character. And that's something that I have to give someone like Capcom grats for. As much as I get frustrated with Marvel, with Street Fighter, or some Capcom games like this, The one thing is, with enough skill, you can tell that characters can be beat no matter what. It doesn't matter what kind of a buff or nerf they got. Characters still are viable. At the end of the day, most of these characters are still viable. They still hold a place and a treat in, and if you will, a place and a treat in the game. They still are mechanically sound. They still can function at their core function. And that's one of the things I think I've seen about nerfs and buffs on fighting games is like when you got like going back to Soul Calibur, for instance, a nerf that happens, it's like it pretty much changes the complete core of an aspect of the character. It's not like, oh, there's it's a new the core is still the same. He's still going to be pretty powerful, but we just made it to where some of his damage modifiers cannot be as powerful. Like for instance, like if Nightmare was to do his ultimate, his damage modifier would be nerfed, but still features the same core function as the original intended damage. It's just like, okay, the damage got nerfed a little, maybe now you're going to be stunned or something like that. And that's something that you look at Street Fighter, it does that pretty well. Street Fighter, it's like, yes, I get frustrated with the game, mostly because ping is off the roof sometimes. Internet, sometimes it's just crazy annoying. Sometimes the frames just don't seem to make sense to me. Sometimes, like, online, it's like I question, okay, was that real? Was that fake? Was that, whatever? And, it makes sense. Now, I would question these things. Because, obviously, at the end of the day, you will see that, in my opinion, I observe these things. I make analyzations. I try to make sure that I can fairly judge whatever's happening based on what's happening. Like, for instance, here I was trying to fairly judge what the heck happened. Was it just because my skill was just crap at the time? Or was it just because, I was not able to read them? But, in the end, you kind of see that, it's not so much that I wasn't able to read them. I was pretty much able to read them. It was just a matter of me, having that time or that blink out moment where I was like, what happened? Because I was confused. And mostly that might have been because I was confused, So, it's like, it's those type of things that, you really have to wonder or, ask yourself when it comes down to the factor of things. And, and getting a good analyzation of, will this game keep its player base because of the core functions and also the changes that are made. And, for the most part, that's one of the main reasons why you see something like Street Fighter, for instance, have its core players, and it continues to hold its players for long periods of time because of the fact that it's actually pretty balanced. It actually has changes to keep it tournament ready. So, that's one of the main things. But anyway, thank you everybody for joining me on this video. If you like this video, you know what to do. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the bell notification because I know you want to know when my next video drops next. I am live on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/Accureye. I am live on Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday for sure for about 4 to 5 hours. And I am trying to be live more often on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, and potentially Sunday. Sunday will always be a bonus stream, but Monday and Tuesday and potentially Sunday will be about 2 to 3 hours, give or take. But thank you everybody for joining me today on this video. And yeah, until the next one everybody, this is Accureye signing out and saying farewell everyone.